By any chance, are you watching this video right now while simultaneously worrying in the back of your mind about tonight's dinner menu or the things you have to do tomorrow? Let's be honest, for many of us, the harder we try to learn or remember something, the more we feel like our brain is actively rejecting us. Consider that feeling when you study all night, yet your mind goes completely blank the moment you receive the examination paper. Or that sense of futility when you read a book for an entire hour, but the moment you close the final page, you cannot recall even a single sentence of what you just read. This is not a problem with your intelligence. It is not that your brain is inherently bad. It's that you have been reading the user manual for your brain completely backward. We often tend to think of the brain as a warehouse that needs to be filled to the brim. We believe that if we just keep shoving information in, it will eventually pile up and stick. However, the truth revealed by neuroscience is the exact opposite. Your brain is at its most powerful not when you're actively cramming things in, but when you stop and do absolutely nothing. What I'm about to tell you is not just about study methods. These are techniques to physically boost the efficiency with which your brain processes information by more than 40 times. Somewhat strange yet exhilarating methods that open the brain's back door. The first secret lies in the pause. You've probably chained yourself to your desk, perhaps even holding in a bathroom break because you were terrified you would lose your focus. But your brain does not store information during the exact moment you are reading. The moment real memory is firmly etched between your brain cells is during those 10 seconds when you take your eyes off the book and stare blankly at the ceiling. According to experiments, during short breaks in learning, the brain replays the content you just learned at 20 times the normal speed over and over again. It's very much like a video editor rendering a final project. If you just keep reading continuously without stopping, the brain never gets the time to render, and eventually all that data is lost. If you've studied for 10 minutes, do absolutely nothing for 10 seconds. Don't even look at your smartphone. Simply give your brain the time it needs to cook the information that just came in. However, there is something strange here. Why is it that we often think we know everything, yet we fail to answer someone when someone actually asks us a question? It's because you're confusing familiarity with genuine knowledge. When you read a book multiple times, your brain recognizes those sentences as something it has seen before. Then it whispers to you, "I know this, move on." But that's just a trick your brain plays so it can be lazy. Real learning begins only when you actively extract information from your brain. Putting information in is easy, but pulling it out is painful. That uncomfortable moment when you can't remember and you're scratching your head, when the word is right on the tip of your tongue, that's exactly when your neural connection networks are becoming as hard as steel. If there is no pain, the brain doesn't treat that information as important. This principle, when moved into modern tools, is what we call spaced repetition. Our brains are geniuses at forgetting. 70% of what you memorize today will be gone by tomorrow. However, a magical timing exists right here, recalling the information right before you are about to forget it. When the brain thinks, "Okay, I can probably throw this away now," and you suddenly pull that information back out, the brain gets startled. It hits the emergency alarm thinking, "Wait, I still need this. This must be really important," and it drastically extends the memory's expiration date. There are many application programs on the market that calculate this timing for you. Instead of struggling through sheer willpower to remember, let a system manage your forgetting. All right, pick up your smartphone right now and open the application store. Search for an application program called Anki. It's free of charge. It might cost money for iPhone users, but the web version is free. It's absolutely worth the value. The usage method is simple yet powerful. Open the application program and press Add. On the front side of the card, you write the question or concept you want to memorize. For example, you write, "What is the name for the memory that acts as the brain's workbench?" And on the back side, you write the answer, "Working memory." Now, every single morning, open this application program for just 10 minutes and flip through the cards. Look at the card, try to recall the answer, and then press Show Answer. When you do, 3 buttons will appear at the bottom. Again, Good, and Easy. If you struggled, press Again. Then the application program will show you that card in a few minutes. If you matched it easily, press Easy. Then the application program will show you that card in 4 days or perhaps a week. Every single time your brain thinks, "Oh, shall I forget this now?" the system grabs it by the scruff of the neck. You simply need to review the cards every day as the application program directs. The moment you get on this system, your memory capacity will increase exponentially, regardless of your willpower. However, there is a more fundamental issue than memory, the size of the workbench that is your brain. The reason you forget the conditions at the beginning of a mathematics problem when reading the end, or the reason you struggle to follow a complex conversation is not because your intelligence is low, it's because the workbench called working memory is narrow. No matter how many good ingredients you have, you can't cook properly if the kitchen counter is too small.
Surprisingly, you can expand this workbench through training. It is a training method called dual N-back. This is not just a simple game, it is heavyweight weight training for your brain. Once again, open your application store and search for dual N-back and install any of the application programs. Most of them are free of charge. The training method works like this. A 3x3 grid appears on the screen, and a square blinks irregularly. Simultaneously, you hear the sound of an alphabet letter through your ears. The N in N-back refers to how many steps back. At first, you start with 1 back. If the position of the square that just appeared is the same as the position immediately before it, you press a button. If the sound you just heard is the same as the sound immediately before it, you press a different button. This is easy. The real challenge begins from 2 back. You have to simultaneously judge whether the current square is in the same position as the square 2 steps back and whether the current sound is the same as the sound 2 steps back. You have to track the position with your eyes and remember the sound with your ears, all while constantly juggling these 2 pieces of information on the workbench inside your brain. When you move up to 3 back or 4 back, you will feel as though your brain is actively melting. Try this training for exactly 20 minutes a day. At first, your head will feel like it's going to split open. You might even want to throw your smartphone because you keep making mistakes. This is normal. It's exactly like getting muscle pain when you do squats after not exercising for a long time. However, congratulations are in order. That pain is definitive proof that your brain's workbench is physically widening. If you just endure for 2 weeks, you will have a fascinating experience. You'll find that complex logical structures that were once overwhelming now come into view all at once, and you'll get the feeling that the content you're studying is laid out neatly on the workbench inside your mind. Finally, and most importantly, you must respect your brain's office hours. The human brain is not a machine that can be fully operational 24 hours a day. Neuroscientifically, our concentration follows a cycle called the ultraradian rhythm. After about 90 minutes of deep immersion, the brain starts releasing fatigue substances such as adenosine and begins to shut the blinds. Forcing yourself to sit there at that point is simply a waste of time. It's not that you're lazy that you can't concentrate, it's that your brain has biologically reached its limit. The people who achieve the highest performance utilize this rhythm incredibly well. Practice the 90-20 rule. Turn on a timer and concentrate intensely for 90 minutes. During this time, switch your smartphone to airplane mode and block out every single potential distraction. And when 90 minutes have passed, the very moment the alarm rings, get up from your seat immediately. Then, disconnect completely from the world for 20 minutes and rest. Resting here doesn't mean looking at Instagram or scrolling through YouTube shorts. That's just giving your brain another form of labor, processing visual information. It's the worst possible habit that interferes with your rendering process. True rest is turning the brain off. Sit back in your chair and close your eyes, or stare blankly out the window, or take a light walk while looking far into the distance. This rest time is not just time for playing around, it's the organization time when the brain sorts the fragmented pieces of information collected during those 90 minutes, moves them from the hippocampus to the cerebral cortex, and systematizes them. If a librarian is not given time to put books back on the shelves, books will just pile up at the entrance of the library until it eventually becomes paralyzed. A brain that never rests eventually becomes no different from a junkyard. Keep in mind that this 20 minutes of complete rest is the magical time that transforms your 90 minutes of study into long-term memory. In the end, this is the core. Don't try to do more or do it longer. Don't try to trick your brain. Instead, ride on its natural instincts. Pause, extract with pain, stimulate right before forgetting, widen your workbench, and rest definitively. When these 5 techniques click together, your brain is no longer your enemy, but your most powerful weapon. Now you have a choice. Will you continue to exhaust yourself with meaningless effort as you did before, or will you seize control of your brain's mechanisms and live a completely different life? Remember, your potential is designed much deeper than the limits you currently believe in. Stay curious, stay sharp, and don't forget to subscribe and like if you're ready to master your own mind. After all, you're a beautifully wired human.